Hello, my name is Martin. I'm a linguist and a translator. Welcome to my language channel. Today we're going to talk about the Spanish alphabet. We'll look at each letter, its name in Spanish, and how it is pronounced. The Spanish alphabet is an adaptation of the Latin alphabet with some unique peculiarities. In 1994, the Real Academia Española made some changes to the alphabet that affect the alphabetization process. That is why some Spanish language tools, dictionaries and spell checks, offer a choice of traditional sort, which basically alphabetizes or sorts words based on the pre-1994 changes. A. The Spanish alphabet follows the same order as the English alphabet, and the first letter is A. It is pronounced like the A in the English word father. Unlike the English A, which has several pronunciations, this Spanish vowel is pure and always consistent. In the following Spanish words, the A is always pronounced the same. Agua, nada, madre, padre, mano. B. The Spanish word for the letter B is B. The Spanish B is pronounced similar to its equivalent in English, but more softly, especially when it appears between two vowels. In modern Spanish, the B and V are pronounced the same, and therefore B is sometimes referred to as B de burro, while V is referred to as V de vaca. Listen to the pronunciation of the following words in Spanish. Burro, adobe, bastante, haber, vaca. Centavo, vamos, nativo. C. The Spanish word for the third letter of the alphabet is C or C in Castilian Spanish. As in English, C is pronounced like a K before the vowels A, O, and U, and like an S or TH in Castilian Spanish after E and I. Examples: canela, como, Cuba. Cena or cena in Castilian Spanish, cita or cita in Castilian Spanish. CH. Until the spelling reform of 1994, CH was a separate letter of the Spanish alphabet, che. Spanish dictionaries listed CH entries after C, so words starting with CH, such as charlar, would be found after words starting with CI, CO, and CU. CH is pronounced the same as it is in English. Listen to the following examples. Chile, cuchara, charlar, chiste. D. The Spanish word for D is de. It is pronounced by placing the tongue against the teeth like the TH in the English words this and that. Between vowels, it is pronounced more softly, and in many regions like the Caribbean, Cuba, and Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, it is even dropped in colloquial speech. Examples: datos, dar, donde, dedo or deo in Caribbean Spanish, hablado or hablao in Caribbean Spanish, nada or na in Caribbean Spanish. E. The Spanish word for E is e, and it is always pronounced the same. Listen to the following examples. Estrella, este, hable, café. Please note the accents in Spanish do not affect the pronunciation, only the stress. F. The Spanish word for F is efe, and it is pronounced basically the same as it is in English. Examples: flor, Fabio, bufanda, café. G. The Spanish word for G is G. This is an aspirated sound stronger than the English H, similar to the Scottish CH in loch or the German CH in koch. The G is pronounced similar to the English G in Gary, before the vowels A, O, and U, and aspirated before E and I. Listen to the following examples. Gato, golfo, gusto, jengibre, giro. H. The Spanish word for H is H. It combines with the C to form a CH sound as in Chile, but does not have a sound value of its own. No matter where the H appears in a word, it is always silent. Listen to the following examples. Hamaca ahora alaja a. I. The Spanish word for this letter is E. It is always pronounced like the double E in the English word free. Listen to the following pronunciations. Iberia, Inglés, ignorante, gatito. J. The Spanish word for this letter is J. It is a guttural sound like the Spanish G before E or I. Listen to these examples. Jarabe, hija, ajonjolí, junta. K. The Spanish word for this letter is Ka. It is pronounced basically the same as in English and is used only in words of foreign origin. Listen to these examples. Kiwi, kilómetro, kilogramo, kiosco. L. The Spanish word for this letter is L. It is pronounced basically the same as in English. Listen to these examples. Leche, letra, palabra, delantal. Double L. Until the spelling reform of 1994, double L was a separate letter of the Spanish alphabet, Elle. In the original Castilian dialect, it was pronounced like the LLI in million, billion, trillion. The double L is no longer considered a separate letter, and words starting with LL are alphabetized and sorted before words starting with LO and LU. The pronunciation of the double L varies throughout the Spanish-speaking world. Listen to the different pronunciations of the following Spanish word. Castilian Spanish, llama. Many parts of Spain and Latin America, llama. Argentina and Uruguay, llama. M. The Spanish word for this letter is M, and it is pronounced basically the same as in English. Listen to these examples. Mesa, mismo, símbolo, álbum. N. The Spanish word for this letter is N. It is pronounced similar to English, but with the tip of the tongue against the teeth instead of on the roof of the mouth. Listen to these examples. Nariz, nada, caminan, anden. N with a tilde. The Spanish word for this letter is Ñ. It is pronounced like the NY in canyon, which is actually the English spelling of the Spanish word cañón. Words now written with an Ñ were originally written with two N's. The Ñ evolved during the 17th century by placing a tilde over one N as a shortcut. Eventually, the Ñ became a letter of the Spanish alphabet and a symbol of Spanish identity. Very few words begin with Ñ, and there are no words that end with this letter. Listen to these examples. Ñame, ñoño, niño, mañana. O. The Spanish word for this letter is O. It is pronounced similarly to the O in the North American pronunciation of open. Listen to the following examples containing the letter O in Spanish. Oso, obrero, tamaño, taco. P. The Spanish word for this letter is P. It is pronounced similarly as in English. Listen to the following examples. Pera, piedra, pelota, papel. Q. The Spanish word for this letter is Q. It is always followed by a U, which is always silent. QU together represent the sound of the hard C before the vowels E and I. The letters QU never appear before the vowels A, O, or U. Here are some examples of words containing the letters QU. Queso, almanaque, paquete, bloque. R. The Spanish word for this letter is R. The Spanish R is always rolled or trilled. The double R, once a separate letter of the Spanish alphabet, is trilled more forcefully than a single R. A single R at the beginning of a word or after a consonant also has a greater trill than between two vowels or at the end of a word. Listen to the following examples. R at the beginning of a word or after a consonant. Radio, reina, Pedro, atracción. Single R between two vowels or before a consonant. Para, pero, cuarto, árbol. Double R always between two vowels. Perro, carro, chorro, becerro. Single R at the end of a word. Hablar, paladar, porvenir, profesor. Please note there are regional differences in the pronunciation of the R and the double R throughout the Spanish-speaking world. S. The Spanish word for this letter is ese. It is pronounced like the S in saint and never voiced like the S in easy. In some regions of Spain and Latin America, however, the final S is aspirated or even dropped altogether. ¿Qué es eso? What is that becomes ¿qué es eso? Vamos a ver, let's see, becomes vamos a ver. Examples: silla, sombrero, sal, semáforo. T. The Spanish word for this letter is te. Like the Spanish D, it is pronounced by placing the tongue against the teeth and not to the roof of the mouth. Listen to the following examples. Toro, teléfono, tijera, triturar, internet. U. The Spanish name of this letter is U. It is pronounced like the double O in moon. Listen to the following examples. Uvas, común, fortuna, rotundo. V. According to the Real Academia Española, Royal Spanish Academy, the word for this letter is V, but in Latin America it is referred to as V. Because the V is pronounced exactly the same as the B in Spanish, V is commonly referred to as V de vaca, V chica, or V corta. Here are some common Spanish words that start with V. Vaca, vaso, ventana, vela. W. The W does not appear in Spanish words and is used only in foreign words such as Washington. The Spanish name for this letter is W, 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 or W. Here are a few words that contain a W in Spanish. Waflera, whiskey, Wilfredo, Webb. X. The Spanish word for this letter is X. You may have seen the popular brand of Mexican beer Dos X, meaning 2 X's or XX. This is the only letter in the Spanish alphabet that does not have consistent rules of pronunciation. At the beginning of a few names and surnames, it is pronounced like the J in Spanish, Javier, Jimena. At the beginning of a few words of Greek origin, it is pronounced like an S, xenophobia, xilófono. After a vowel or between two vowels, it is usually pronounced like the X in English, éxito, axila, examen, texto. In colloquial speech, the X is sometimes softened to an S sound in some regions. Explicar, expresar, exacto. In a few words, especially those of Aztec origin, an X between two vowels is pronounced like the Spanish J, Mexico, Mexicano, Texas, Oaxaca. Y. The traditional Spanish name for this letter, and the one I always use, is Y, which means Greek I. This is because this letter looks like the Greek letter Ypsilon, but is pronounced like the letter I. Previously, these two letters with the same pronunciation were distinguished by the designations Y Latina, Latin I, and Y, Greek I. Now the Royal Spanish Academy recommends the designation Y for this letter. In addition to being a vowel with the same pronunciation as the letter I, it is also a consonant, and as such is pronounced closer to the sound of J in English. Listen to the following examples. Yerba, yegua, ya, yeso. As in the case of the double L, the pronunciation of this letter as a consonant varies from region to region. In Argentina and Uruguay, the above words would be pronounced yerba, yegua, ya, yeso. The letter Y is also used to form diphthongs with other vowels. Ay, 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 Paraguay, hoy, Uruguay. Z. The Spanish word for this letter is zeta or theta in Castilian Spanish. In central Spain, it is pronounced like the TH in think, but in other regions, including Latin America, it is pronounced like the Spanish S. The Z is never followed by an E or an I. In cases where grammatical structures require an E or an I to follow a Z, the Z changes to a C. Examples: aprendiz, aprendices, luz, luces. And now just a couple of general observations. In Spanish, the letters of the alphabet are feminine, la A, la B, etc. The Spanish word for alphabet is alfabeto, but abecedario is also common. The Spanish word alfabetismo means literacy in the sense of literacy rate. Alfabetización means literacy in the sense of a literacy campaign. And alfabetizar means to teach to read as well as to alphabetize. So that wraps it up for today's video on the Spanish alphabet. If you have found this information helpful, be sure to like this video and click on the subscribe button for more videos like this one. Thank you for watching.